They tried to hide the documents. They tried to hide their knowledge of the gain-of-function research, and Judicial Watch was the first to get the core information out through our FOIA litigation about gain-of-function research. Since 2020, Judicial Watch has been the leader in getting out key information about the origins, potentially, of COVID and the controversial activities that the U.S. government was funding at the Wuhan Institute of Virology and elsewhere in China, namely gain-of-function research, the type of research that, if indeed COVID was an engineered virus, that would have been the basis for engineering it, gain-of-function. That's why there's been this outrage about the funding. And they tried to hide the documents. They tried to hide their knowledge of the gain-of-function research, and Judicial Watch was the first to get the core information out through our FOIA litigation about gain-of-function research. In fact, most recently in April of last year, we showed how the Fauci gang knew that they were calling it mutant. They were using coronaviruses, gain-of-function on coronaviruses to create mutants. They literally called it mutants. Now, I don't know about you. It never occurred to me to call the coronaviruses that were subject to gain-of-function research mutant viruses. But that's what EcoHealth Alliance, who was running these operations in China with the Wuhan Institute and elsewhere, that's what they called it in government materials. Fauci was funding the creation of mutant coronaviruses, and we're all supposed to ignore the likelihood that I think is pretty darn strong, but not confirmed, that that type of activity led to the creation of COVID, or COVID-19. And I've long suggested that it was improper what was going on. They pretended it was a gain of function, but yet they all knew it, and it shouldn't have been funded under their own rules. And you know who agrees with me? The Biden administration. Because HHS just announced, it was released through Congress, that they are shutting down funding for EcoHealth. And this was the release from earlier this week. Today, Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic Chairman Brad Wenstrup issued the following statement. After the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services accepted the Select Subcommittee's recommendation to formally debar. You know what debar means? It means they can't get money again. EcoHealth Alliance, HHS will immediately commence official debarment proceedings and implement a government-wide suspension of U.S. taxpayer funds to EcoHealth, including a hold on all active grants. That's just great news. And let me be clear. Obviously, the accountability and the vindication for those of us who have been calling for just this type of measure, it's a big failure that Congress hasn't shut all of this down. But let me just say this. Thank God for the public safety, because this is so dangerous what was going on, this gain-of-function research. And if you think it's limited to coronavirus, I tell you, it's going on all over the world. It's going on here in the United States. But obviously a place like China, where there are these competing issues, to put it charitably, bioweapons, gain-of-function, do I need to put two and two together for you? What an important development. And it's an admission it was gain-of-function. That's why they shut it down. Here's the cover letter HHS sent to EcoHealth, Dr. Peter Zasek. And they reference, bring up that cover letter if you have it. And they reference all of these grant documents. And all these grant documents were first disclosed to the American people via Judicial Watch. It's kind of, well, I mean, you can see there. Well, this is the referendum. This isn't what I was referencing. It was the cover letter. But it's the same principle. You see you can see some of the documents that they relied on in the memorandum justifying the letter. Now EcoHealth Alliance can contests this, but it's a major victory for those of us concerned about what's been going on with U.S. funding of dangerous research, biologic research in China. Now let's go back to, there's the letter. And so the debarment is generally for a period not to exceed 3 years. However, regardless of whether EcoHealth Alliance contests this action or responds to this notice, I may impose debarment for a longer period or shorter period as the circumstances warrant. So we got to make sure they never get the money again. So right now it's temporary, but it's got to be made permanent in terms of protecting us from this menace. Now let's go to the other thing, the other memo I want to show you. I don't know if you can see on 21 there, paragraph 21. Can you draw into that? On August 3rd, 2021, I'll read it for you. There was a grant was submitted and a report was submitted at more than 2 years after the report due date. So not only do they get the grant, but they don't bother reporting as they're supposed to. And the NIH's review of the year 5, when they list the report, NIH's review of the Year 5 report determined that an experiment shown in Figure 13 of the report had possibly yielded a greater than 1 log increase in viral activity. That's a description of gain-of-function research. Basically, increased viral activity as a result of human intervention. However, there were no facts to show that they notified the Fauci agency program officer and grants management specialist as required. So that's kind of an example of the reason they shut all of this down. And of course, Judicial Watch exposed earlier this year, it was actually just a month ago, how the FBI was investigating this in 2020, back in March and April of 2020. And they saw it was gain of function, and the gain of function was of such a nature that they wouldn't be able to tell if human beings had actually created the resulting virus. And it took them 4 years to shut it down. And when Trump tried to shut it down for a little bit, they attacked him. And you know, and when I say Judicial Watch is the lead, I'm not exaggerating. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.